everybody. Aloha and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Touchful Podcast, a podcast in which I talk about touchful life, which is life in touch with yourself, with others, and with the whole world. Life touching life. My name is Magdalena. I'm a practitioner and teacher of Hawaiian Lomi Lomi massage in Iceland. And today's episode was not planned at all. So I always have some ideas for a new episode. I have a whole file of what I want to talk about to you in Touchful Podcast for this whole upcoming year. And this episode was not there. In fact, even now as I am recording it, I'm not sure how it will go. I'm not even sure if I will publish it. But obviously, if you're listening to it now, it means that I did publish it. And this episode will be a little different than most of the episodes here. I don't have any notes on me. I don't have any particular plan of how I want it to go. All I know is that I have a story that I would like to share with you. And that's why I'm recording this episode today in the first place. Because I had an experience a couple of days ago. Something happened, which was big and profound for me. But it also felt very vulnerable and very intimate. So I didn't think back then, right when that happened, to grab a microphone and talk to people about it. But then in the next day, and then the day after that, and then also today, I got this feeling that the topic that I touched in that very profound experience that I had and that I want to talk to you about today, that the topic, the thing that I touched there in myself, that it started to reappear in people around me. So I had clients day after day, session after session, coming with the same thing, with the same issue, which is self-love and self-worth. And I'm going to call it self-kindness and self-compassion. I had quite many Lomi sessions these days that were around that topic for some of my clients. And then today I had a talk with a friend, and again this topic came up, just being kind to yourself, holding yourself kindly. So I got this persistent, nagging thought that I should grab a mic and I should just tell you about the experience that I had a couple of days ago. So we will see how it goes. And I record this episode today with an intention that it might be, hopefully, helpful for some of you there who, I don't want to use struggle, but okay, I'm going to use the word struggle with self-kindness or self-love or self-compassion. Maybe, just maybe, what I'm about to say today will be in any way, shape or form helpful to you. We'll see. Okay, so like I said, I want to tell you a story about something that happened to me a couple of days ago. It was evening and I was about to start to practice my evening meditation, which is a very particular kind of meditation because like a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, I started to learn something that is called the Silva method or the Silva mind control I have a feeling that I'm like 40 years too late. That like the whole world knows that method, and it was extremely popular, in the last century. And I heard about it, of course, but it's only now when it came to my life. So I decided that yes, I want to give it a try. I want to learn more about it. I want to practice it. I want to learn how to do this method. And it has many elements, but one of the elements that I'm learning now, and that I was learning or practicing on that evening, was a particular type of meditation that allows you to tap into the alpha state of mind, which is in essence nothing new to me. It's just the way it is done is exciting and extremely interesting for me, and the possibilities that it opens up. So I put my headphones on, I turned on the recording of the meditation, and I started to listen. And I was very, very familiar with how the meditation was going to be. That was not the first time I was practicing it. So I knew that the first step would be relaxing your body, and I would follow the instructions of the teacher to relax my body part by part. And before I continue with the story, I'm gonna make like a small pause here and tell you about a little bit of a background and something that happened earlier on that day and a couple of days before. So earlier on that day, I had a long and very wholesome conversation with my sister, who lives in another country, but we are very close and we try to, keep in touch, and we very often meet on Messenger just to talk. And we had this very long conversation in which I kind of really opened up myself to her about some certain insecurities that I have regarding my career life, but also my private life. I share some things with her, and I felt very seen and I felt very held in that moment. And I kind of have a feeling that just that experience itself opened up something in me. And that conversation with my sister was a consequence, or like an end point to a period in my life that started maybe at the beginning of the year, maybe last year, when I would have a lot of this urge into deeper and deeper self-inquiry. So I always was quite naturally a very introspective person. It was always like this, that I would spend a lot of time on my own, introspecting myself, my inner world, exploring my inner world. And the deeper I would go in my introspections, the more things I would see there about myself that were sometimes difficult to see, that were sometimes hard to see, that were sometimes hard to hold myself in that. But at the same time, this type of introspection feels always very rewarding to me. And in my case, I feel that this is the most exciting journey that I can have in this life, this journey into the self. And kind of like it always feels to me like stripping myself of layers of some weird beliefs, some fakeness, some masks, or just some layers of things that just don't feel like me, and uncovering more and more of myself under all these layers, and learning to operate from the place of self and to speak to the world from the place of self. and to share myself from this place of true self, to do Lomi from that place, to record podcasts from that place, to have conversations from that place. So I kind of feel that I am quite raw these days, these last couple of weeks or even couple of months, kind of really raw and deep into myself, into these introspections of discovering more and more what is the truth and what are some things that, maybe I've been carrying around for 35 years as mine, and then I discover that, hold on, this is not actually me anymore. Maybe it was once, or maybe it never was, but I'm just gonna drop it here because it's not mine. You know what I mean? So that was the background and the state of my emotions, my heart, and the state of my mind and the state of my soul when I sat on that day into that meditation. So I felt quite open. So the meditation started, like I said, and the first step was to relax your body part by part. It's a very common way of relaxation. This partial relaxation when you start either with your feet or with the top of your head, and you first feel into this part of your body, and then usually with exhale you release or relax. If you come to sessions of Lomi Lomi with me, especially the sessions with cacao that we sometimes have, then you know this meditation quite well. We sometimes do it together. But what happened on that day was that I was traveling through my body part by part, and then there was the abdomen. And first, the instruction was to relax the outer part of the abdomen, so the skin that covers your belly. And then in the next step, to take your awareness deeper into the organs, into the glands, into the muscles, and with exhale, relax the organs and the inside of the abdomen. And when that happened, when I took that exhale, I felt such immense, intense sadness, such huge sadness and kind of like longing that I started crying. And again, that's nothing new for me. I do body work, I practice body work. I've been doing it for years. So it's something that I've experienced on myself many, many times before, that when your physical body relaxes to a certain point, and when you are open and allowing and vulnerable, then with that relaxation of physical layers of your being comes access to some emotions that are sometimes, I call them trapped or stuck in this physical tightness. So once you relax it, at least that's how I perceive it, that's how it works for me. Once I allow for this deep relaxation, sometimes the emotions that are there, that were stuck there or trapped, or something was tight and numb, so I was unable to feel that, suddenly it becomes alive again. It starts to flow. And very often in these moments, emotions come to the surface. That is one of the reasons why sometimes on Lomi Lomi sessions that I offer, why sometimes people get so emotional and they feel touched, they feel moved, they feel a wave of sadness or a wave of longing or anger or all kinds of feelings, grief, fear, shyness, all kinds of things. It's because in this relaxation that happens in Lomi, when the relaxation goes deeper and deeper and deeper, it unlocks not only physical tensions and physical tightness, but sometimes emotional tightness or tensions too. So when that happened to me, in that moment, I was not surprised. And I knew how to hold myself in that moment, because it was not the first time it happened, and because I am an experienced body worker, and I very often do deep body work / relaxation techniques on myself, or breath work, which works in a very similar way, then I knew what to do. So I allowed for that sadness, and I went even deeper and even deeper, and I could hear the voice of the teacher from the recording in my headphones, kind of like, proceeding with the exercise. So like releasing tensions from your thighs and I kind of like could hear it in the background, and I knew that the exercise is going on, but I knew that I needed to stop there instead of kind of like, pulling myself together and continuing, which is something that I could easily do, because I know how to pull myself together and I know how to be strong. I've been my whole life trained for this, like many of us. So each time an opportunity comes for me to be weak, and I'm doing air quote when I say weak in that sense, because it's not weakness, it's this deepest sense of vulnerability, which requires immense amount of courage. So each time an opportunity like this shows itself, I grab it, and if it's safe, of course, if I feel safe that I can do it, and I did at that time, and I dive deeper into it. So I went deeper into that great sadness, and it was a very particular kind of sadness mixed with a big sense of insecurity. And that insecurity kind of like got me intrigued, because it's something that I feel in myself quite a lot. All kinds of little knots of insecurity. Am I good enough? Can I do this? Can I share this? Can I be here? Will I be accepted? I am very aware of this part of me, and over the years of practice of this self-inquiry, I learned to embrace this part of me and to hold this part of me, and also I do my best to never allow this part of me to take over. So even though I very often feel insecure about certain things, I know that it's just a part of me, so I still do it. I still record the podcast, I still do the workshop, I still create some online offer, I still do the Lomi training, I still do this, I still do that, I still do a live stream, I still perform, and so on and so forth, despite the insecurity, which is not new to me. I feel that it's something that has always been inside me. So it's something that I learned to live with and accept it as a part of me. And I'm sharing this because I am absolutely sure that I'm not the only one there who has this. And actually learning to embrace this part of me and to live with it and to give it attention that it needs, but at the same time to not allow this part of me overtake and stop me from action. This has been one of the greatest, I almost want to say adventures, one of the greatest adventures and journeys of my inner life, of my inner exploration. So I was deep in the meditation, I was deep in the alpha state, experiencing this deep sadness and kind of insecurity. And then I got a very sharp and vivid image of myself as a baby, as a little baby, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 months old, a tiny, tiny baby. And that really got me, because I realized I never thought about myself as a baby. When I think about myself, I can imagine myself as a little girl who is like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. And whenever I did any type of inner child work, which I did a lot in my life, and I find it extremely healing, this meeting your inner child and taking care of your inner child and parenting your inner child. I did a lot of that in on various occasions, in various experiences. But I would always meet myself as this little girl who is like 3 or 4 or 5 or 7. And I realized on that day, when that experience with me as a baby happened, that I never actually thought that that some time ago I was a baby. I mean, consciously, of course, I know that we all were babies some time ago, but I never, before that experience, I never ever had any connection with me as a baby, as a really tiny, tiny, innocent human being. And just that very image really moved me. So I started to cry even more. And I had this very peculiar feeling of being both an adult Magdalena, as I am now. And by adult, I not only mean that I am a grown-up person, but a person that carries this energy of being adult, of being mature, of being a responsible person. And at the same time, I was holding myself as this tiny baby, an innocent baby. So I had a feeling that I am in both moments of time and space at the same time. I was both here and now on my bed in my apartment as an adult Magdalena, and I was at the same time this tiny little baby from 35 years ago, and it was all happening at the same time. And to some of you it might sound very weird or very unreal. Probably some other of you, as I speak, you know what I mean because you've experienced something similar. So that was, again, nothing new or nothing surprising to me, in a sense of having this type of altered state of consciousness experience of, like, travel in time or being in multiple timelines at the same time. So again, because that was not my first experience with this type of altered state of consciousness, I didn't panic or anything like this. I was just really genuinely surprised and curious by meeting this baby, because, like I said, I never before thought about myself as a baby. And what happened after turned out to be one of the most profound and healing and touching experiences of the last months or years that I had, because I started to speak to that baby. I was holding myself in my own arms, and I started to speak in the most soft and gentle and loving and kind words that I could find. And I had no difficulty whatsoever in finding these words, because just by looking at this innocent myself, innocent, beautiful baby, these words were just naturally coming to me. And at first they would just come to my mind. I would just hear them in my mind, but I started to speak them out loud. All that was with my eyes closed and speaking out loud. And I would say all kinds of things to myself. So things like, you are so beautiful. You are so innocent. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being born. I'm so happy that you are here. You are such a miracle. You are my little sunshine. You are such a blessing. I love you. You deserve everything that is best in this world. And I would continue and go on and on and on. And I also don't want to say in a podcast everything that I said on that journey, because some of these things were very personal and very intimate. But I hope that you get the idea of how it looked like and how it felt. So it was like a shower of love, and it kind of almost in my heart, it felt like a motherly love. And I am not a mother myself in a physical sense. I don't have children. But at that time, I felt this motherly love for myself as a little baby. And I could also feel myself as that baby receiving all these beautiful words that I think every baby should receive from the moment they are born. All these words of kindness, words of gratitude, words like, I'm so thankful that you are here. I'm so happy that you are born. I'm so happy that you are on planet Earth, that you are in this world. And you are innocent, you are beautiful. You are kind. I love you so much. You are the most precious. I will always hold you. This was also something that I said to that little baby. I will always hold you. You are safe. You are safe in my arms. I will always hold you. I will always protect you, and so on and so forth. And still, I was saying all that, still crying my eyes out, but kind of, feeling surreal in a way, because that was a surreal experience, and at the same time feeling very normal and feeling very grounded and feeling very secure and feeling like I knew what I was doing, feeling almost like guided. And that took a couple of minutes, and then it ended. I kind of felt that it ended, that I said everything I wanted to say to that baby. So I was just sitting in silence, and I took myself out of the alpha state. And after a couple of breaths and kind of like vaguely comprehending of what happened, what I did is I grabbed a notebook and I started to write down all the things that I said out loud before. So all the things that I shared with that little baby, all the kind and loving words that I said to her. I started to write them down. I wrote a whole full page in a notebook, and I actually have this page in front of me right now. And that was another very therapeutic moment of that whole experience. So to be able to really feel it and to say it to myself from this place of deep love, like almost like a mother would say to a baby, that was an extremely healing moment. And then writing it down was kind of like sealing it, and it helped me a lot. That's why in various practices that I share with you here on this podcast, I quite often tell you to write things down. Like, for example, the previous episode that is about gratitude practices. I suggested you to write things down in your gratitude journal, not just say them to yourself, but also write them down, because once you see your own words on paper, it kind of, at least in my case, that's how it works. It kind of shifts something in my brain that makes it so tangible. So I wrote it down, and then I decided, in a, I don't know, like a spark of inspiration, that I actually want to record that for myself. So I just grabbed the phone and a voice recorder in a phone, and I recorded that in my own soft voice. I first recalled that experience of me holding myself in my arms as a baby. I recalled the experience and the feeling of love and kindness and this fondness and hope and gratitude that I had for that baby, for myself. And with these feelings in my heart, I recorded the sentences, and then I would listen to them over and over and over again. Over and over again, when I was washing the dishes, when I was cleaning my apartment, when I was getting ready for bed. I would even fall asleep to listening to them, and I would wake up in the middle of the night and turn off my the recording on my phone. So I would really give myself time to immerse in these words, because they felt so true to me and so healing. And this is a fairly new experience, a fairly fresh one, I would say. It only happened a couple of days ago. So I don't know what long-term results of that experience will be for me. But I know that since this happened, I feel like something deeply inside me changed or shifted. And in a way, this shift feels very gentle. But I have a feeling, because it is so deep, it feels like a ripple, like a wave that started deep and kind of like travels through all the layers of my reality, through all the layers of all my bodies, kind of like coming a little bit more to the surface and a little bit more to the surface, and up and up and up. And the tiny things that I feel is that I have more peace inside me. And I feel that it comes from this reassuring that I am wanted and that I am needed. When I talk to my clients, and sometimes they share some personal struggles, I feel that so many of us, we have this feeling that we are alone, that we are not wanted, or we are not needed, or maybe not to the degree that we would like to be. And we end up, at least that was my case, that I feel that my whole life I would miss this feeling of being deeply wanted and needed and loved, and I would search for it in the outside world, through my relationships, through my romantic relationships, through my friendships, through my business, through my clients, through my family, through my students, kind of like looking for this reassuring feeling, hoping that somebody would give it to me one day, this feeling that you are wanted, you are appreciated, you can be here, you are loved, you are amazing. But then I realized some time ago, through all these self-inquiries, I really felt it strongly that there is no person in the whole world that would ever give it to me. There are no words strong enough or beautiful enough that would give that feeling to me. And I realized it through my clients and through my students. I am blessed and lucky to have a job in which I can help people in such a way that they sometimes tell me that I changed their lives. I heard it a couple of times in my life, and I feel that it's one of the most profound things that you can hear from another human being. You changed my life. You saved my life. I owe you my life. You are a miracle. You are magic. I hear it from my clients very often. I hear it from my students. And I feel so extremely blessed. And I feel so extremely grateful that the world sends me people who feel like this about what I do. And at the same time, already some time ago, I realized that there is a place inside me that can never be filled up with these words. No matter how much love and appreciation and gratitude somebody will show me, there is a place inside me that will never be filled up by this. And not to say that hearing compliments or words of appreciation, not to say that is not important or that it doesn't help. It does, and it matters to me, because all of us, we want to feel appreciated. We want to feel that we belong. We want to feel needed. We want to feel wanted. So all these words that I hear, whether they come from my clients or from my students or also in private conversations from my friends, they are extremely important. And this is exactly the reason why I also love to say my words of appreciation and share my words of appreciation with other people. I love to tell people how they make me feel, how grateful I am for them, how amazing they are, how inspiring they are, how important it is for me that they are in my life. It is extremely important, and I believe that we as humans, we should do it more often for each other. Share words of appreciation and gratitude and kindness and love. And at the same time, that was a huge realization for me, a very good one, and the one that ultimately gave me a lot of freedom. This realization that it is not anybody's job, not anybody's role, not anybody's responsibility to fill up this place in me that feels not needed, not wanted, not good enough, not beautiful enough, and so on and so forth. That I am the only person that can fill up that space. And I know that it sounds like such a cliche, and I heard it 100 times, that first you need to love yourself, you need to give love to yourself, and to the point that it just you hear it from everywhere and everybody and every book on personal growth, to the point that it just makes you sick. Like, yeah, I get it, but I have a feeling that in that experience, on that day, in that deep state of meditation, when I shared these words of appreciation deep down from my heart, into myself, into the little me, the little Magdalena, that I feel that was the first time when I really, and I mean like really, in my cells, in every cell of my body, I could feel it. I could feel it, that I am the love of my life. That I am the love of my life. And that falling in love with myself is the greatest thing that could ever happen to me. And as I say it now, I smile. I don't want to say that I'm there and that I'm, I'm healed and all is good and I love myself and you should do the same. I feel that I am far from it. But I kind of really feel that I get it, that I am on the right path. And I feel excited for this idea of falling in love with myself, and that I am the one who can fill up this void, this space in me that wants to be loved and to belong and to be appreciated. And that's the story that I wanted to share with you. And I feel that I don't have any conclusion. I don't have, 10-step process that you should do this, you should do that. Other than I am absolutely certain, now more than ever, I always knew that, but now I not only know it in my mind, but I really experienced on a full embodied level the power of it, the power of self-kindness and talking kindly to yourself, appreciating yourself, and also being radically responsible for yourself and for your own happiness. In a way, I would say that I realized so strongly that the radical responsibility that comes with this experience is this radical responsibility for my own happiness. And like I said a couple of times already, but I'm gonna say it again because I just like how it sounds, and I kind of want you to remember that sentence, that I am the love of my life. You are the love of your life. And falling in love with yourself, which ultimately to me is equal to falling in love with life that shows up through yourself, that this is the journey, the ultimate journey that is worth it, the ultimate adventure. And I'm like, I am all for it. I am packing my bag for that journey. In fact, I feel that I've been on that journey for quite some time, sharing also bits and pieces of my explorations with you in different various episodes of this podcast. That's why I feel that actually saying this and recording this episode is important, because it feels like a big step on my journey into more touchful life, being in touch with myself, being in love with myself, being in this radical responsibility for myself, being kind to myself. And speaking of kindness, one thing came to my mind, so I'm gonna share it. So like maybe 2 days after the deep experience with the baby Magdalena, maybe it was 2 days after, I went to a cacao ceremony. And it was a prayer ceremony. And I really love prayer circles, prayer ceremonies. So a part of it was that we gathered together in our tribe, a group of people. We drink cacao, we sing, some people play instruments, but the part of the ceremony was sharing prayers in a very ceremonial way, sharing prayers for the whole world. And everybody had a moment to sit by the candle and in a special kind of ceremony to share a prayer. And when my turn came, I went into the middle of a circle. I sat by the candle and I just gave myself a moment for a prayer to come. That is my favorite way of praying. I close my eyes, I take a deep breath, and I wait for the prayer, which I know that is there. Because every moment is a prayer. A life itself is sacred. A life itself is a prayer. So every moment carries this energy of a prayer in it. And the prayer that emerged out of me in that very moment, and that a prayer for the world that I shared with the group was, I don't remember exactly, but a big part of what I said out loud was that I pray that we look at ourselves and at each other with kindness and with compassion and with curiosity. Again, the moment I said the prayer out loud, something shifted deep inside me. That's the power of the prayer. That's why I love it. I like praying. I feel that all the events of this last couple of days, the meditation, diving deeper into the Silva method, which I really like, and I like how it works for my brain, the experience of healing the baby me and kind of reminding the baby me that it is wanted in this world, and then the prayer circle, when I reminded myself that I want to look at myself and other people with utmost kindness and respect and curiosity and compassion. I feel that it's really, again, like I said, it feels like some ripples coming from inside out. And in a way, absolutely nothing changed in my life. Absolutely nothing. And in a way, everything changed. The way I wake up, I feel that it's not every day, but sometimes like today, I woke up with such a beautiful energy in me. Just this energy of feeling grateful that I can be in this world. And when I think about myself as a child now, like this episode is really just me and the free flow of my thoughts. When I think about myself as a child, this is the struggle that I always had, without, of course, realizing it as a child, because I didn't have words to name it like this. But now, as an adult, in retrospect, I see that it was quite a lot about that, this feeling or this insecurity. Am I wanted in this world? Am I needed in this world? Is there a space for me in this world? Or will I always feel like I don't belong anywhere? Will I always feel like an outcast? Will I always feel like there is no place for me in the world? Because that's how I felt for most of my life. Doing all kinds of things, sometimes wise, sometimes very stupid things, to give me the feeling of belonging. And I feel that now, very slowly, piece by piece, I feel that I'm really healing. I don't know why I hesitated to use that word. Maybe because I feel that sometimes it's so overused. But okay, I'm gonna say it, that I'm kind of like healing this part of me by taking this radical responsibility of loving myself, and by really understanding that nobody will ever love me to the degree that I can love myself. Nobody will ever love me in a way that I can love myself. And I feel so grateful for all the people in my life that love me. People from my family, my parents, my sister, my dear friends, people who I really feel that love me. There are so many flavors and colors of this love, and it feels different from every person. But I just realized that nobody will ever love me in a way that I can love myself. And I want to experience this kind of love to the fullest. I want to fall in love with myself and love myself to the fullest. However cliche it might sound. And I'm not gonna end up, like I said, I'm not gonna end up with advice for you or 10-step process to love yourself. But I just simply hope that everything that I said and shared, that maybe it inspired you to some degree, maybe it opened up something inside you. And if it did, if this episode did something to you, please let me know, either on Facebook, if we are connected on Facebook, or send me an email if you want to. There is an email in the description of this podcast and ways to contact me. If this episode did something good to you, inspired you in any way, opened up something in you in any way, please let me know. Because in a way, it was not an easy one for me to record. It was easy one in a sense of that I feel that my words were flowing, and I'm so grateful that I could share this story. But like I said, it feels extremely intimate, and I feel that I shared a lot of intimate and vulnerable things about me, and I would love to know if it did any good to you. Thank you so much for spending almost 1 hour of your time with me. I appreciate it deeply. I always feel so honored just by this very idea that there are some people out there in the world who just decide to spend some time with me, listening to my voice. I mean, how incredible is that? And how crazy is that? How great. And that makes me feel really humbled and grateful. So thank you for you. Thank you for listening to this episode. And I will talk to you sometime soon. Aloha. I wish you a beautiful day or a beautiful evening, depending on when you listen to this. And bye-bye.